Hi everybody, this is Kimberly from Starfish Design Embroidery. I'm on our Facebook group with Starfish Designs Embroidery Group. So I did a live demo on our Facebook group tonight to show how to make an itty bitty coin purse, coin pouch. Sorry, I'm getting tired. But we had some technical difficulties as always with the child and the human child and the canine child. So I'm doing a new video. So this is what we're making, and this is going to be a freebie design in my group. It's for everybody who's wanted to try a zipper pouch but is afraid. It's a very simple online zipper pouch. So you need to use a vinyl that is good, has a good backing. Like this vinyl will do good because it's got the flannel backing. So anything that has a nice finish in the back. You don't want something too thin. It's not going to work. Let's see. Here's some glitter vinyl. See how it's got that like a woven backing. That would be good. Marine vinyl. I think I have a scrap here. Marine vinyl. See that? Knit backing. Trico knit. That would be good. So anything like that. You need, I'm just guesstimating here because I didn't get a ruler out. So the frame is 4x4. This is exactly a 4x4 design. So you need, approximately 4.5 by 4.5 inches. So I just rough cut my pieces here real quick because I'm in my testing / living room. With my Demi. I like to do some testing on this guy because a lot of people have the smaller machines. So I don't do all my testing on my big multi-needle machine. That doesn't do any of us any good. If you have issues, then I have issues because I have to support your designs. So I cut this a little large, so I'm going to go ahead and trim that off. I've gone ahead and already ran the placement stitch. Now, I do want to point out, I did mine upside down. I don't know if you can see. Yes, you can see my bracket for my machine is in the back. This Demi 350E. So, it's all the way back here. So, when I did my demo earlier today, because I had the zipper up here, the material became a little bit of a problem. So, I'm going to turn this upside down for 1 second just so I can put the zipper on correctly. I'm right-handed, so I like my zipper to be on the left-hand side. Now, this zipper is right on target. It's 1 inch, so if you just put it right on top of those placement lines, it's perfect. But not all zippers are. So, I always include let me get some tape here. I'm just going to use Scotch tape because I have it sitting here. I normally like my pink tape, but I'm going to tape this in down and show you. Oh, that's not big enough piece. Pink tape to the rescue. This is R&K tape. Hopefully I can get in the video. Somebody gave me a thumbs down in one of my videos. It made me so sad. I know, I'm new to this. I watch lots of videos. I'm trying to work on it. I don't really have time to go through and edit my videos, though, like other people do. Else I'd never get them done. So what I want to point out is, when you use that center line, if your zipper is not exactly correctly 1 inch, just line up the center of your zipper teeth with that center line. And I've gotten bulk zippers off of Amazon, off of Wish. I have found that, I don't know why, maybe it's a coincidence, but those that have a silver tab instead of one that is painted the same color tend to not be as good a quality. So I'm taping this down. Hold it taut. Tape at both ends first. You want to keep the marks. Oh, and I forgot again. I'm going to put a stop at the very end so the zipper doesn't get stuck there. The presser foot. So when you guys get to this file, the very last step will be skipped. And that's just, I'll show you. Hopefully I won't bang up my machine today. But when your machine goes to move, it's going to hit the presser foot could hit. So I'm going to bring my frame back here so it's easier to reach. And I have some pink thread in here. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, but we'll try. It's not important. The next step is just a tack down stitch, and I have to get it in position before I put the foot down. It's just going to tack down the zipper, and I forgot to mention I'm hooped medium tearaway. I'm actually using the Pellon 806. This is a little bit heavier duty tearaway than I also use the Thread Art tearaway from I order on Amazon. That is a good overall usable tearaway. Okay, so now I'm going to take this off, and I am working upside down because of this bracket here. We can take the center tape off, and I did a good job getting it just right on the edge so it didn't cut through it, but don't be afraid of cutting through your tape if you have to. And I'm going to go ahead and trim this little jump stitch. Okay, so now what we're going to do, and I need to make sure my instructions are, or my material is right side up. So I'm working upside down, but the instructions are the same. So I'm using these lips, and I think there's a right side to it. I think this is the right side. So since I want this to be down here, I'm going to put it so the right side of material, and since it's directional, I want it here, so I'm going to flip it. I'm sorry, can you see in the screen? I want it here, so I'm going to flip it there. And then it's going to stitch down, and when I fold it down, it's going to be the right direction. So you would be using a less generous piece of vinyl than I am. So, you know, you don't want to waste all this vinyl. And no stitches, except the basting stitch, will be much outside of this original placement. I don't always include that placement line, but because this is for beginners, I made sure to include it so you know where to cover it up. So unlike a snap tab, you don't want to just cover the line, because we're going to have reinforcement stitches to your zipper that are going to come. They're going to come about to here, so it's going to cover just a little bit. Now I'm going to bring my hoop back again, put this on. I taped both ends. It's very important to tape because this is vinyl and we don't want to put pins through it. All right. Now it's going to do a tack down stitch across the frame. And always, always pay attention to where your presser foot is in relation to this frame, because when your zipper, you have that zipper pull on there, you don't want your presser foot to get stuck and hit it. Okay, so now we're going to fold this down, and I don't have a tool down here, but use a pressing tool to seam it. This one's seaming pretty good. So we're going to fold it down, and then I'm going to tape it. So if you have a boning tool, I have this here, you can use this, and you rub. Can you guys see this? Yeah, you can. Let me make sure you're seeing what I'm seeing. Let me move it over here out of the way. Sorry. Okay. Is that better? Yes, that's better. So with your tool, if you crease this down, it helps keep the vinyl down. And it'll stay down better when you don't have too large of a piece like I do. But tape it really good. Now I'm not going to be able to tape it over here because I made my piece too big. So I'm just going to tape it to the frame right here, and hopefully that'll hold it taut. The key is to hold it taut away from this so it can do the top stitch. So now the next stitch is going to come along here, and it's going to top stitch along this vinyl. And I'm going to be very careful because I have that little bump right there. You guys may not have that. And I'm just keeping the pink thread in here. It goes with the theme. And what this is also doing is reinforcing the zipper. So it's doing one more line to that zipper. And see what I mean? You have to be careful and make sure, because I hooped it upside down, we got okay, we didn't hit that. I'm gonna bring the hoop back. We didn't hit the frame or anything. So now if you look in the back, so this is where our zipper ends. And now we have another reinforcement. So we have 2 stitches to hold that zipper in place. Now we're gonna do the same thing for the top piece. Now again, I chose directional vinyl. Let me stand up so I can make sure I'm showing you guys well in this frame. I am. So, since I chose directional vinyl, my vinyl is going to go like this, right? But it's going to end up being in the back. So, we need to make sure that it's positioned correctly. So, if we put it like this, and it's going to go there, then when we flip it over, it's going to be right. So, if we put it like this, we're going to flip it over, and that's going to go down in the back, and it's going to be correct. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and remove, I'll use this piece of fine tape. I'm going to line this up here, and I'm moving mine all the way over to match the other side because I cut it too big, and I don't want to waste this vinyl. So I moved it over so it's even here, just because I cut mine too big. And that's actually good enough right there. So again, I have a little bump up here, so I'm going to carefully slide my frame in. You won't have that problem because you're going to cut your pieces down. Oh, look at that, the tearaway. You're going to cut your pieces exactly correct, so you won't have that problem. All right. Oops. I had pulled the frame back. So that's what that was telling me, is I had to lift the presser foot so it could move down to the bottom of the frame to stitch. And this is only 9 color stops. And all my designs, the color stops are always to indicate some type of behavior happening with the hoop. So it means to take the hoop off and do something. You can use whatever color matches your project. So now we're going to fold that piece up. I'm going to sit back down again. And again, we're going to tape it down really well. I hope I don't run into an issue over here because I got that big bulk there. So, again, press this down. And I can tell I did not get my zipper lined up perfect because my zipper tape, the reveal on the top is more than the reveal on the bottom. But that's okay. This is just a little sample. I'm not entering it into any county fairs. Nobody's going to judge me on it. And I'm going to go ahead and just leave this tape for now, but I'm going to go and pull all that tape out in the next step because we're going to do the tack down of the reinforcing of the zipper. I find if we don't do that, then that zipper tape can come apart at the end. I saw a good tip from a sewist. I got to go back over here because I had moved my frame. And what you can do is if you have a stiletto or something, I have these hemostats, you can guide that to make sure your vinyl is staying down. But the tip I saw was to burn the edges of the zipper tape. And I don't know why I hadn't thought of that. I probably had seen the tip before, but forgot because I'm 51 now and that's what happens. I thought that was a great tip. So it'll help it to not whoops. Ooh. No. Don't do that, Kimberly. Don't do what Kimberly just did. Did not mean to do that. I accidentally hit start. Okay. So that was actually starting to do my zipper tack down. Definitely don't want to do that because we have not moved the zipper yet. The zipper pull, that is. Okay. So now I'm going to go ahead and, okay, and leave this tape over here. I'm going to pull the tape out from underneath though. Do that now because if you don't, it can get stuck. So pull that excess tape. It can get stuck into your zipper then, and you don't want that. And I like this pink tape because it doesn't seem to stick to the vinyl, but it holds everything in place. I know a lot of people use the white medical tape, but in my experience, that white medical tape left a residue on some of the vinyl, especially the glossy vinyl, and I didn't really want that. So I'm going to pull the zipper pull over because it's going to go ahead and do a couple of reinforcing stitches on either end of the zipper. I want to put a piece of tape right here. So I'm going to put it back. So see where the zipper ends? See where this zipper, oops, the zipper stitching ends? Right here, I'm going to put a piece of tape. First of all, it's going to keep that zipper together, but it's also going to give us a little hill, a little bridge for the presser foot to guide across, because without that, the presser foot could get stuck. And I'm going to do the same thing down here. I'm going to do it just outside that seam, and then I'm going to put this back on. I'm really curious as to what possessed Janome to do this frame like this. So there's two color stops here, but again, I'm doing the same color. So I'm going to be very careful because as soon as this is done, I'm going to raise the presser foot because it's going to get stuck on this zipper pull if I don't. Oh, it didn't. Because I had it hooped upside down, which is good since I didn't catch it, it didn't get stuck on the zipper pull. Okay, so that's just something to keep in mind when you're doing your project. Think about where your hardware, where your hoop mechanism is. It might be this one that it got stuck on earlier. All right, so I stopped it and I'm going to raise it. I'm going to pull this off. And then I'm going to go ahead and let it go to the next stop and get started. No? Okay, it's not going to do that. Anyway. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and trim off these strings. So now we're on our last step. My machine says step 9, but again, I'm going to have a step 10, which is what's going to make your embroidery machine not go to the center. So I'm pulling the tape off. Now, if you were in advanced stitching, what you would want to do is, I'm going to pull this back, the zipper pull up out of the way. One thing to keep in mind is however wide your zipper foot is, or your presser foot, you want to make sure that that presser foot is going to clear wherever you leave your zipper pull. So you want to make sure, so it's going to come along here and stitch, 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 and depending on where that needle is in that position, it's going to stitch here. You need to have enough room for it there. So make sure you push this over, but you need room for it to turn the bag inside out. So now, in advanced zipper in the hoop world, we would go ahead and cut the zipper free from the stabilizer up here, and that's in some of my more advanced bags, and then fold the tape on top of itself. So then you'd get a zipper right on the top of the pouch like you're used to in the sewing world. But that's advanced, and not every machine can go through all that zipper. So we're just going to pull our vinyl down as taut as we can. So I'm going to fold it down, and I'm going to try to make sure it stays even over here. Okay, and then we're going to tape it down. I'm going to reuse this tape here. And again, we're going to do the same thing that we did earlier when we were doing the tack down. We're going to create a bridge. So you can tell where to put that because I pulled too hard there. But where our zipper ended is where you want to put that bridge. So I'm going to put right here. it's going to also serve as another purpose of holding that there. And if you have to look on the back to kind of eyeball it right here, where to put that bridge. And it's okay if the tape, this zipper, it's okay if it goes through the tape. Okay, so now we have that all nice and smooth. This one actually folded down really nicely. And I gotta bring this over this way because I have too much bulk there. And now you want to be very mindful now of where the zipper pull is, because we don't want this to get stuck there. Okay, so it's going to go down, around, and come back again. Now when you download this file, like I said, I'm going to have a stop there. So you won't have to worry about it going back to center. But I don't have it on here yet, so I'm going to try and catch it when it gets to the end here and stop it. And actually I missed the bridge over there, but that's okay because that's where it started. And this is doing a double run just to reinforce it. Oh, I was okay. It went there. So when you do this, there's going to be a stop. It's going to stay right there. All right. So trim off this thing. Take the tape, and you see it went through the tape right there. But that's okay. Especially when it's on the inside of the bag. Some of the vinyl, it tears off more easily than others. Just do it very carefully because you don't want to pull out your stitches. And if you need to, take a little hair dryer, something like that to it, and it'll be fine. I didn't get it all out, but that's okay. All right, so now we're all done, so we can take and remove it from the hoop now. And since I use tear away, I should be able to just tear everything away. Okay, I'm going to reposition you a little bit this way now so you can see what I'm doing better. And if I get caught in the camera here, just ignore my appearance. It's been a long week. I've been trying to spring clean and also embroider stuff and spend time with my son. And spring break for us, it's the week after Easter right now. And even though I'm technically on holiday from work, I've had to do some work as well. Okay, so just pull out your tear away. Sometimes it comes right out. Other times you gotta fuss with it. And you're feeling the placement stitches from the original one, so don't worry if you're pulling those out. And now we're going to go ahead and cut around it and leave about a 1/4 inch seam allowance. I'm using these Jim Holtz scissors, but I actually do not highly recommend them. I've not been that impressed with them, to be honest. If you're going through like really big bulk, they're not too bad, but like even I'm struggling right now just to get through this. People swear by them and they're really expensive. I believe it was like $25 for this large pair, and I don't get it. There's no possible way I got two bad pairs. I got two different sizes, and I had the same results with both of them. All right, there we go. So now I'm going to go ahead and let me trim off this. See, these pieces are long enough that I can use for a snap tab or something. So I'm going to go ahead and notch out, where's my notching scissors? Little triangles along these edges right here. Can you see it? Oh, I gotta stand up again so I can make sure you guys can see what I'm saying. Okay, so right along here, I'm gonna put little triangles, just like this. You see? There we go. Just like that, all the way around. Stay away from the seam line. Where can I go? All right, I'm gonna And you may not be able to see me totally in here. Let's see, how can I get it? But I'm just going to do that all the way around. Alternatively, you could use pinking shears. I haven't had luck. I've tried 3 different brands of pinking shears and not been impressed. It's certainly not going through vinyl. But anyway, you just go around and do these little triangles. And what this does, it allows this vinyl to spread out in the seam allowance, and it's smoother. And I'm going to go back in and trim the seam allowance a little bit more, because I can tell I'm beyond a 1/4 inch in a few areas, and it's just not going to lay as nicely. And you can do a square pouch. I just wanted to be different, so I did an itty bitty coin purse. Okay, so there's what that looks like when it's all done. And like I said, I'm going to trim out just a little bit more of that seam allowance. I think it's just a little too thick still. I'm cutting off all my notches, so I might not have needed those notches. It's a gamble. If you go too thin, yeah, see, I could have just avoided the notches. If you go too thin on it, you risk the vinyl tearing open. But my instincts are that it needed to get trimmed a little bit more. I'm going to try and avoid that zipper though, because I do not want my zipper to come undone. And it happened to me in another test I was doing. I got way too close in the zipper. I cut into the zipper tape and my zipper came undone. So I'm just going to work in here and only trimming the vinyl down a little bit more, not the zipper tape. I just worked the zipper scissors right in behind it, the zipper tape. And again, this is where if you go get that lighter, I don't know where my lighter's at. I do have one somewhere. But I'm gonna just, sorry, let me come off camera for 1 second so I can get my finger in there and move that zipper tape out of the way. Because this vinyl right here is just too, right here it's just too thick. All right, there we go. There we go. That's better. I like that better. Okay, don't cut up any of these little tabs here in the corners like you might be tempted to do. Okay, now we just need to get the stabilizer out of the zipper, and usually you can get a hold of the center placement stitch and pull it all the way across most of the time. I have a little travel there. And I'm sorry if I'm getting out of the view of you a little bit here. Trying hard here to stay in it. There we go. See? That just pulls it right down. And go ahead, because this is such a small pouch, make sure you trim out any of these extra threads. And you'll do a better job of cleaning out that stabilizer than I did. Okay, so now we're just going to, let me see if I can get this tilted down a little bit more, because I want you to see how I turn it down. Am I going the wrong way? Did I just cover up the camera? I'm so sorry, guys. There we go. Now you can see me. Me in my blue shirt. Okay. So now you just want to go ahead and turn it inside out. And the same thing is going to apply to any zipper pouch you do. You're just going to turn it inside out. So if I'm working with a pointy one, a square one, I usually will go down for the bottom corner. Oh, and actually I need to open up the zipper all the way. So if you reach your hands in there, some good zippers will just push. You can just push right on it and it'll finish opening. But not all of them do that. The lesser quality for sure don't do that. Okay, it's good enough, I think, for me to get it open. Okay, so then just start turning it gently around the zipper ends. So I'm pushing there, and I think I might have pushed too hard. Some of the vinyl is a little bit more tough. This one here is sticky together, so it's a little bit harder to turn. What you could do is use a blow dryer to warm it up, put a pressing cloth over it, and use your iron with a little bit of steam, and that'll soften it up. And I'm trying to go real gingerly because I think I might have pulled too hard and pulled the stitches out over there. So you need to do it really gingerly. And just turn it, turn it, turn it. Now, it's important, I used pink all the way around, but I will recommend that you match the thread with the vinyl color. The reason for that is the tendency on the vinyl is to show the stitches a little bit more than on cloth. Cloth is a fiber and a weave, and the thread can get embedded into it. It can marry into the weave of the fabric better. So you don't tend to see the seam stitches as much as you do with vinyl. With vinyl, there is nothing there. And I'm going to use my hemostats to get in there and push out the corners, well, in this case the roundness, and that helps a lot too. Any kind of, these hemostats I got are actually kind of rounded over. Oh, I can see right now. Be very careful. I can see how it's pushing? Can you see that? Even though I'm using this, which is rounded, if I push too hard, that's going to go right through that vinyl. So I'm going to go back to my fingers. And you have to, every vinyl is different. You have to judge the vinyl based on how it's behaving to you and know what devices and what you can get away with poking in there and so forth. Once you get it pretty rounded out, then you could get back in there with that and kind of smooth out the seam. Now around the zipper here, you want to push your finger underneath that zipper and push the tape up. Now, because we didn't make the zipper come loose, we have a tiny little flip of material at the top. So work carefully to pull that little flip out. Once you pull the zipper closed, it actually helps to smooth that little flip out. And so you're going to have just this tiny little bit here of material showing up here. And I can still get this out just a little bit more. But again, I want to be very careful because I can tell this vinyl is wanting to I don't want it to tear. And it seems to want to be looking like it wants to tear. So just work it softly and gently on both ends. And you can get that whole little seam to pop out. See, it's coming out right there. And it'll come out into a smooth, rounded edge, just like that. See that? Okay. And now if you take this in here and gently work it along that seam, gently. Because, again, this one looks like it wants to pop right through. And just really gently open up that seam with the press it, press it, press it. All the way around. And this is what happens when you work with vinyl. On a sewing machine, you could go ahead and get that under there and use your sewing machine. It sometimes helps to roll the seam too. Do you know what that means? So rolling it means just like this. You roll it against each other and it helps bring that seam out. Now on something like this, if you want, ooh, what did I do? See? Somehow I missed a back tick and my seam came open. I better double check that stitch. Oh, I bet I cut it when I was trimming. It's okay though because that's the tack down stitch and the top stitch is still in place. It just looks a little off now, but it's compromised. It's not compromised. So what I will do is I'll put some glue there and clamp this down just to save this pouch so I don't throw it away because it's a cute pouch. There's no sense in throwing it away. So what you can do is either just leave it like this, and I don't mind it, and this one's actually looking pretty okay. But if you want, and you might have a bigger review, you can get some of these little clips and put them along here and just leave them overnight, and that'll help make that little review even and keep it down. But I'm not going to worry about that, except I'm going to glue this and fix this because I apparently cut the thread. But this is it. So this is the tiny little itty bitty coin pouch. And it's big enough to put, I don't know, probably, I have a chapstick in here, I think. Yeah, it'll fit a chapstick, a couple of dollars folded up, some coins, whatever. But it's free. Starfish Designs Embroidery Group. Today is Friday the 26th of April 2019. I will have this file for sure by Sunday, probably around 5 o'clock p.m. I will need to do pictures from the video or from another project so that I can do a PDF for it. But nothing to be scared of. Simple little coin pouch. So easy to do. Don't cut your threads like I did. I hope you guys like it. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.